Flat owners hit by the Taipo blaze are set to receive an annual subsidy of $150,000 to rent homes for 2 years. A memorial service is held for late firefighter Ho Wai-ho ahead of the fallen hero's full honors funeral tomorrow morning. And Hongkongers should expect a staggered peak travel next week, as some 700 Guangdong cars have applied to come and stay in the city during the Christmas break. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Evan Bai. Affected owners of Wong Fuk Court in Tai Po will receive an annual rental subsidy of $150,000 from the government, disbursed every 6 months for a period of 2 years. Both owners and tenants will also receive a one-time allowance of $50,000 when they relocate from their current temporary shelters. Jeremy Zhu reports.
Deputy Chief Secretary Warner Chuk said currently over 600 residents remain in hotel accommodations. More than 500 are in youth hostels and approximately 3,400 are living in transitional housing. However, the government only has 1,000 permanent resettlement flats available, while Taipo district has no such flats left. Chuk said after feedback from social workers, many residents expressed a desire to stay in their home district with a subsidy, and he described these resident requests as reasonable and not excessive.
Many residents actually they wanted to have another option of a rental subsidy to be given to them so that they can, from the private market, rent a suitable accommodation which can fit into their, the daily routines, such as going to work, going to school, going to the doctors, and also because many residents, they have lived in Taipo for a long time, and they have their social network there. So if they stay in the transitional housings in elsewhere in Hong Kong, they have this problem of social dislocation.
The authority hopes to have a long-term resettlement plan in place after 2 years of rental subsidy and has pledged to continue supporting the welfare and medical needs of affected residents. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
Meanwhile, a memorial was held in commemoration of firefighter Ho Wai-ho, who died while tackling the deadly Taipo blaze, ahead of his funeral tomorrow. Jamie Liu reports.
Former Chief Executive Donald Tsang, Chief Secretary Eric Chan, and Secretary for Security Chris Tang were among the current and former officials seen arriving at Universal Funeral Parlor in Hong Kong, where the government will hold a funeral service for Ho with the highest honors at 10 a.m. tomorrow. While the ceremony will be closed to the public, a condolence area will be set up for residents to pay their tributes. After that, the hearse will pass through Wong Fuk Court before stopping at Sha Tin Fire Station, where the 37-year-old was stationed. Fire Services Director Andy Young will lead firefighters to pay final tributes to their late colleague. The cortege will then leave for Garland Garden at Wo Hap Shek Cemetery for the burial service. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
The Transport Department has received over 700 applications from Guangdong motorists to drive and stay in the city starting next Tuesday. Under the Southbound Travel for Guangdong Vehicles scheme, the department noted that 40% of the 1,700 successful applicants in the first round of the quota lottery have submitted their applications in line with expectations. In response to some applicants' complaints that the application process was complicated, the authority stated that it would take longer to repeatedly explain and check information with mainland authorities initially. To support the initiative, the department will introduce a dedicated page on the HKE Mobility app, providing information on car parks, border control point status, and live updates on tunnel tolls. Approved motorists with confirmed travel reservations can enter Hong Kong via the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge starting December 23rd. with a maximum stay of 3 days. With the scheme commencing just before Christmas, the department expects staggered peak travel, as Guangdong motorists head south while Hongkongers travel north. In a bid to strengthen relations with the legislature, top government officials met with newly elected lawmakers before their term of office had yet to begin. The administration aimed to gather views as early as possible from legislators-elect, some of whom also hope to contribute policy input at an earlier stage. Jamie Liu reports.
The exchange session was led by Chief Secretary Eric Chen, marking the first such meeting organized by the government since the handover. Around 70 legislators-elect, including 30 newcomers due to take office next month, attended a meeting that Chen called an innovative arrangement. Chen said the early exchange was meant to build consensus while policies were still being formulated so they can be better aligned with public sentiment. Noting the double identity of lawmakers as representatives of public opinion and the government's partners in promoting reforms, the city's number 2 official expected them to deliver quality and effective scrutiny of bills that would boost Hong Kong's competitiveness. The session lasted about an hour and a half and was attended by several bureau chiefs. More than 10 lawmakers-elect spoke at the session. Kenneth Falk, re-elected to represent the sports and culture sector, hoped the administrative legislative engagements could start earlier in the future.
Through the government's decision-making process, no matter if it's legislation or even funding requests or approvals, they could engage us at an earlier time. Because I believe that our interaction within the LegCo building may be short, but our working relationship begins much earlier.
Judy Chan, re-elected in Hong Kong Island West, urged officials to reach out to the community and touch base with residents, as lawmakers often do. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
Police have arrested 1 man and are chasing 2 others in connection with an armed robbery of nearly 1 billion Japanese yen from the staff of a currency exchange shop in Central. Officers responded to the scene after 2 employees of the currency exchange shop, both identified as victims, alerted for help around 9 a.m. at Queen's Road Central near Grand Millennium Plaza. The 2 victims were carrying cash equivalent to nearly 15 million Hong Kong dollars in 4 suitcases. They were planning to exchange the foreign currency to Hong Kong dollars in a bank. When they arrived, 4 knife-wielding robbers reportedly ambushed them and took the suitcases before fleeing the scene in a getaway car. After searching in the neighborhood, police arrested a man holding a 2-way asset permit near Sheung Wan MTR station, while he was carrying luggage containing a large amount of Japanese yen. Officers later found a private vehicle believed to be linked to the case, parked on Jarvis Street. Personnel from the Identification Bureau also arrived at the scene to collect physical evidence. Almost a year into his second term in the White House, U.S. President Donald Trump recapped his achievements and announced some of his future agenda. He cast himself as the one to clean up his Democratic predecessor's mess and claimed economic success with tariffs. Jamie Liu reports.
In an 18-minute primetime speech, Trump opened his address with criticism of Biden-era policies, saying he had inherited a mess that required fixing.
1 year ago, our country was dead. We were absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail, totally failed. Now, we're the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Trump claimed he had lowered gas prices, clamped down on inflation, and attracted $18 trillion in investments that would create jobs and open factories.
Much of this success has been accomplished by tariffs. My favorite word, tariffs, which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us, but not anymore.
He said the tariff income would fund a new warrior dividend for 1.45 million American military members. The amount, $1,776, was a reference to the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776, which will mark its 250th anniversary next year. The Republican president also claimed 25 million illegal immigrants crossed into the U.S. under former President Joe Biden, but that the number was reduced to 0 under his immigration crackdown. On foreign policy, Trump repeated his claim that he had ended 8 wars within 10 months and brought historic peace to the Middle East. Looking ahead, Trump revealed he would announce some of the most aggressive housing reform plans in American history next year and expressed confidence in further economic improvements. However, Americans appear to be unconvinced by Trump, as polls by several U.S. media outlets showed only around 30 to 40% of people approve of his economic handling. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
In response to the mass shooting at Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia has announced plans to reform legislation to strengthen the fight against hate speech, division, and radicalism. Meanwhile, the Philippines has denied accusations that the shooters, a father and son, underwent military training in the country. Jeremy Zhu has more.
The incident, which caused 15 deaths, with the youngest victim being only 10 years old and dozens of others injured, targeted Australia's Jewish community at a Hanukkah celebration event on Sunday. One of the 2 gunmen, Father Sajid Akram, aged 50, was killed at the scene. He moved from India to Australia in 1998. His surviving son, 24-year-old Naveed Akram, faces 59 charges, including murder. The pair are alleged to have been influenced by the extremist group Islamic State. The government's proposed reform includes tightening hate speech laws and increasing penalties for disseminating material advocating violence. The Home Affairs Department will also be authorized to cancel or refuse visas for individuals with an anti-Semitism background.
It was an attack on our Jewish community, but it was also an attack on the Australian way of life. Australians are shocked and angry. I am angry. It is clear we need to do more to combat this evil scourge.
Meanwhile, the attackers had spent nearly all of November in Davao City in the Philippines, arousing suspicions that they may have received military-style training there. However, Philippine authorities strongly denied this, stating there was no evidence and that 1 month was insufficient for proper training. Reports suggest the duo rarely left their accommodation and did not interact with other guests. Jeremy Chu, Cable News.
The city's stock exchange has proposed to reform its trading unit system in a bid to improve market efficiency and encourage smaller investors. Under the proposal, the number of bought lot units of listed companies' shares will be streamlined from more than 40 options to just 8. The minimum bought lot value guidance will be lowered by half, from the current level of $2,000 to $1,000. Lowering costs to execute trades, while a new ceiling guidance of $50,000 will be introduced for issuers that use spot lot units larger than 100 shares.
We would also assume that in doing so, it could bring more retail investors into our market, and then again, creating more liquidity into the market overall. Now, we don't have any specific numbers around that. But again, what we're trying to do is put the right market structure in place and provide, well-balanced access into our market.
The new framework will be rolled out in phases to ensure a smooth transition for the market, with consultation concluding on March 12 next year.
The direction of travel that we would ultimately like to achieve at some point into the future is to move the market to a single board lot unit. So there would need to be those conditions to be met. So you would either need to see a change in cost structure, or you would need to see a change in the distribution of stock prices.
Now let's take a look at the stock markets. The Hang Seng Index ended the day up 29 points. Top active stocks of the day. Tracker Fund was up 4 cents. Alibaba was down $1.90. Xiaomi was down $1.02. SMIC was down 5 cents. Foreign exchange against the Hong Kong dollar. Canadian dollar 5.64. Australian dollar 5.14. On to the weather now. Mainly cloudy, a few rain patches tonight and tomorrow morning. Bright periods in the afternoon. Temperatures will range between 19 and 22 degrees. Moderate east to northeasterly winds, occasionally fresh at first. That's our news tonight. I'm Ethan Bai. Thanks for watching and good night.